Offside Sports continues in the Loft 100 studios in Southern California, presented by Turtlebox Audio. Find their awesome lineup of portable speakers at turtleboxaudio.com. Thank you, as always, to Harry Arnett and Mark Wahlberg and everybody at Municipal for being the official wardrobe sponsor of Offside Sports. Municipal, bet on yourself. Find them at municipal.com. So we spent the first segment talking, you guys, about the matchups left in the semifinals. Of course, Miami and Ole Miss, and you've got Indiana, and you've got Oregon. And for the longest time in the NFL, you always hear about trees, like the Coryell tree, the Bill Walsh tree, the Joe Gibbs tree, the Belichick tree that sucked. You know, and when you look, except for Mike Vrabel. Vrabel really doesn't come from the Belichick tree. He played for Belichick, but the Nick Saban tree is so impressive. And then when you think about the four head coaches remaining in the college football playoff semifinals, Saban has touched them all. Yeah. Dan Lanning, graduate assistant, said, yeah, I'm going back to Alabama and I'm taking a pay cut, but I'm going to get my doctorate in football. Pete Golding, defensive coordinator at Alabama one time. Mario Cristobal. Dave, Mario took Josh around on his tour?
Yeah, so my son played at Alabama, and Mario Cristobal was the first one that he met when he actually was signing his papers to play at North Carolina, and then got a call saying, hey, we hear you're interested in playing football. We'd like to have you at Alabama. And Cristobal's the one that met him, and then had a chance to basically be underneath almost every single one of these guys. And it's interesting to get an inside point. And Saban taught my son so much. I can't say enough nice things about Nick Saban and the coaches he had working for him.
So you had Mario Cristobal, offensive line coach, and then you've got Curt Cignetti, the head coach at Indiana, who was the wide receivers coach, but he was also the recruiting coordinator. And you talk about somebody who has an eye for talent. When you look at who came in under Saban and Cignetti at Alabama, a couple national championships, and how many of these guys have gone on to the pros. Here is Indiana's head coach talking about the impact that Nick Saban had on his coaching career.
I think everybody learned a lot from Nick. He was a great mentor, very organized, detailed, had a plan for everything. Managed, lead, how to stop complacency, game day, recruiting evaluation, player evaluation. I mean, he had it all. And, if you were serious about your career and wanted to be a head coach one day, you took great notes or great mental notes. So I felt like after 1 year with Coach Saban, I'd learned more about how to run a program than I maybe did the previous 27 as an assistant coach, and stayed with him for 3 more years. I think everybody learned a lot.
I mean, excuse me, there you go.
Yeah.
Him saying I learned more in 1 year than CJ than in his 27 years of coaching. The impact he's had on, I mean, you can see Saban in all four of these guys.
Yeah.
When you look at the way they are on the sideline, look at the way they coach.
Yeah, it makes it even more impressive too how Saban did it for however many years, 2 decades, 2.5 decades, and he had coaches continually leaving, and his ship kept floating, and his ship kept moving, and to think that he would just keep bringing new guys in, and those guys would leave, and then go create great programs.
Right.
But they can go create as great a programs as they want. He's going to win a national championship here and there, and he ends up with 6.
So, and Dave, you would know this, I think. One of the reasons Saban got out, because he kind of saw the handwriting on the wall as far as the NIL is concerned. Dave brought in a stat today about what it cost you as a school to bring in the top player at everybody's position. And the numbers are, we'll put it this way, it's good to be a college athlete these days. $1 million to $4 million if you're going to bring in one of the top quarterbacks. Offensive tackle, $500K to 1.3. Running back, upwards of $900,000. Wide receiver, $1 million. Tight end, edge rusher, $2 million. I mean, this is what these schools are paying to bring these kids in to transfer in from other schools. Al, do you think NIL is going to be is going to get worse before it gets better with college football or college sports in general?
Yeah, well, the 4 remaining teams in the college football playoff, 58% have come through the portal. 58% of the players playing in these last 2 games have come through the portal.
Yeah.
And so that is all tied to NIL money. Where can they? Some of it, in a few small cases, they're going for more exposure, more playing time, whatever
Sure.
the situation is. But the money is definitely making a huge impact on everybody. I mean, the coaches too. I mean, how much time and money and resources do you want to spend into recruiting a kid who you know may leave in a year for a greener pasture?
Well, and you
greener
can't,
dollars.
You can't, CJ, make them sign a contract
No.
and say, hey, you got to stay here for 4 years.
They'd be sued.
No, it's a 1-year contract.
It is.
And I think that Dave brought up a good point earlier about how Indiana's done this without having, the greatest NIL money. But I wonder if, as your team starts to win more, and guys like Cuban, who is an alumni of Indiana, says, hey, maybe this is something I want to pour my money into now that I'm not so involved in the Dallas Mavericks or whatever that may be.
Well, so look at this. Notre Dame is known for having the most money, right?
Yeah.
Notre Dame, you could talk about Oregon and everything else. Notre Dame has a tremendous amount of money. Indiana right now is a better team in the same state than Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Notre Dame booster, you're like, wait a second. We aren't even the best team in our state. We're supposed to have all this history. This is very frustrating to us. How does this happen?
Yeah.
And Indiana has done a pretty good job. And you see it in college basketball, too, where Indiana's the oldest team in college football. So, experience matters as well, and age and strength, as we all know how it's a physical sport. But overall, what Indiana's done has been amazing because really, in reality, it should be Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon, and Texas. If you're just going to go by money, those should be the teams that are in it. And you talk about the Saban coaching tree. Look, Sark, Saban guy. Kiffin, Saban guy.
Those are guys I haven't even mentioned. You're right.
And you talk about, Saban lost an offense and defensive coordinator every single year he was at Alabama.
Kirby Smart.
Kirby Smart. When Dabo Swinney was winning at Clemson, nobody stole his offense and defensive coordinators.
No.
But they always stole Saban's. He had to start brand new and teach his coaches before he taught his players.
Here is Nick Saban talking about what he thinks must change in college football to kind of survive and circumvent this NIL era.
But unless they make the portal in May, which I've said before, to kind of match up with the academic calendar, change spring practice till after that, so that you can get your team together and work over the summer, just like an NFL team does. They don't have their team together until after the draft, after free agency. It's May. So do the same thing in college football, and you wouldn't have these issues with coaches changing jobs because everybody could finish the season with their team, which is what's best for the players.
That's right.
That's number one, because there'd be no hurry, because now there's a hurry because all these recruiting, the calendar is hurry up and get a coach, or you can't take advantage of an early signing date, and you can't take advantage of the portal. But unless they make the portal.
Okay, so and he is so spot on.
He should be the commissioner.
Yeah.
He should be the commissioner of college football.
He really should be the commissioner of college football. Now, part of that conversation was Kirk Herbstreit asking him, well, how do you do this? Because you got the antitrust lawsuits. If you try to, CG, you talked about, if I try to make you sign a 4-year deal, you're going to go, you can't do that. I should have the option of losing. And Coach Saban went on to say, it's the commissioners of the Power 5 conference that have got to get together and say, okay, NCAA, you're not going to do it because the NCAA is a toothless lion. They've got no power. Mm-hmm. The commissioners do.
Yep.
And Dave, they can go to everybody else and say, all right, listen, here's our new calendar and here are the new rules. And I don't think anybody would find a problem with coaches playing out the season, players playing out the season. You can't contact them. You can still contact them and stuff, but you can't, as far as coaches leaving, can't do it until the season's over.
It just seems logical, doesn't it? I don't know what the big fight against any of that would be. It makes no sense. I mean, Saban is exactly right. And we've just spent 2 segments talking about his brilliance in the coaching trees and his knowledge and all the things that Cignetti was saying about him. Well, why aren't we listening to him about some of these more important matters?
CJ, I look at where college football is, and I think, again, like everything, it boils down to the money. and people are like, keep the money train going, keep the gravy train growing. Let's keep churning it out. And I don't want to do anything that's going to upset the apple cart.
Yeah, I mean, coaches have been leaving every year for the last couple of years, and now we're seeing it firsthand where a team is in the playoffs and that coach is gone.
Yeah.
At what point are we going to be watching a playoffs where 2, 3 coaches are gone when the playoffs are starting?
Right.
And one's going to the other school, or they're flip-flopping, or
Yeah.
what are we going to see? You know, we got to figure this thing out.
All right, the playoffs are set in the NFL. Our look at the final weekend in pro football, plus our NFL power rankings. That's coming your way next as we continue here on Offside Sports.